Hello everyone, welcome to CISA-This-Much. So today we are going to discuss one unique question which, even myself, I am looking at this question for the first time, because I have gone through questions on biometrics, throughout the official question answers and, and also the various other question answers on CISA. But this question, on biometric, this is something which even I am looking at this question for the first time. So and also here I'll be making some twist in the questions, and I'll try to give you some more permutation and combination in this question, and we will discuss what will be the answer and how the answer will change when the words will change. All right. So before that, I hope that you have already watched my biometric lectures. We have already discussed in depth on the biometric topic. In case if you haven't, it's fine. I'm just going to quickly revise the important things. So basically, I won't be going very in depth. All right, but I'll be, in case you are not aware about this concept of biometric, no worries. I'll be quickly giving you some important points to remember. All right, so before reading this question, let's do one thing. Let's quickly do a revision. Okay, so in biometrics we have discussed a few terms. So let me write down these terms. We have discussed something known as false acceptance rate. We have discussed something known as false rejection rate. We have discussed something known as equal error rate. Okay, and then we have also discussed about a diagram wherein I have told you that false acceptance rate and false rejection rate shares inverse relationship. All right, so if this is false acceptance rate, this one is false rejection rate, and somewhere here in between we have what equal error rate. All right, so when we say inverse relationship, what does it mean? It means that, okay, first of all, what is false acceptance? The biometric is falsely accepting the unauthorized person in that particular room, okay, or maybe like in the particular device. Okay, so that device is having the biometric access. Okay, so the biometric control is falsely accepting the wrong person, and when I say false rejection, means it is falsely rejecting the genuine person, or the authorized person is rejected. All right, this is false rejection rate. Okay, so when I say the false acceptance rate is highest, false acceptance rate is the highest, okay, it means the false rejection rate will be the lowest. And when I say the false acceptance rate is the lowest, you have to understand one thing. When I'm saying false acceptance rate is lowest, it means the device is what? Device is very accurate. Okay, so it is not falsely accepting the wrong person. Okay, so in that case the device would be what? There would be lots of what? False rejections. Okay, so the false rejection rate would be the highest. Okay, so this is sharing the inverse relationship, and in between there is something known as equal error rate. All right, don't worry. So our main intention is to discuss that particular question, and this is something I'm just giving a background, because these background is required for you to understand that particular question. All right, so then we have also discussed about I have a video on this topic also. When I say biometric and when I say IDS or IPS, whatever, here the main concern is false positive, and in case of IDS or IPS, the main concern is false negative. Okay, you can also understand like this. When I say false positive, you can say false acceptance. So in biometric, false acceptance is the biggest concern, because falsely you are accepting the wrong person, you are allowing a wrong person in that particular room, or you're giving access to a particular device to a wrong person. This is always a highest concern. Okay, so greatest concern is false positive. In case of biometric, in case of IDS or IPS, the answer is false negative. False negative means you are falsely rejecting the malware. So IDS is what? IDS is doing what? IDS is, it's intrusion detection. It is detecting the intrusion. But when I say false negative, it is falsely rejecting the intrusion. It is an intrusion, but it is rejecting it. Okay, falsely, falsely rejecting in a sense it is not able to capture that, it is not able to detect that, not it is not able to capture that. So if that particular tool is not able to capture or detect intrusion, it is a concern, right? Then then we have also discussed something known as least user acceptance. Least user acceptance. Okay, and I have given you the solution for that. So whenever in the question least user, this is the answer given in the review manual. Okay, so this is as per review manual, and we have discussed that retina scan. There are so many biometric we have discussed. So one of the thing we have discussed was retina scan. So retina scan is having what? Least user acceptance, and retina scan is also having what? Lowest false acceptance rate. So lowest false acceptance rate is what? Retina scan. And least user acceptance is also what? Retina scan. Why least user acceptance? So there we have discussed disadvantages of what? Of retina scan. Disadvantages of retina scan. There we have discussed that there is a need. There is what? There is a need for the user. There is a need for the user to get closely connected to the device. There is a need for the user to get closely to closely come in contact. You can say to closely come in contact with the scanning device. With the scanning device. There's a need for the user to get close, come in contact with the scanning device, and and when the user comes close to the device, there is a high chances that it may reveal what? Health conditions such as diabetes and all those stuffs we have discussed. There's a high chances that the device can reveal the health conditions of the user. Their personal health condition can be revealed. All right, so this is the reason it impairs user acceptance. So least user acceptance is what? Retina scan. All right, now I think yeah, so we have discussed everything. Now let's look at this question, which is very unique. All right, the question is, which of the following is a vulnerability of a sensitive biometric authentication system? Option number A, theft of finely individualized personal data. Option number B, slow recognition speed. Option number C, false negative. Option number D, false positive. So we have now in the exam, let's say, if this kind of question comes in the exam, okay, now you remember the chart which I have already discussed and everything. So you will remember the chart, and you will think, okay, the question is on biometric, and in that question they have given the option of false positive. All right, so you will quickly get this in your mind that, okay, biometric false positive, and you will go with the option false positive. Okay, and the answer will be wrong. The right answer here is false negative. Okay, surprised? Okay, even I was surprised. Okay, now let's read this question again. Okay, which of the following is a vulnerability of a of a sensitive biometric authentication system, of a sensitive. The question is talking about not an ordinary biometric authentication system. The question is talking about a sensitive. When I use the word sensitive, it means it is so accurate. The biometric authentication system is damn accurate. And I have told you, when it is damn accurate, it will have what? If it is damn accurate, sensitive, very sensitive, it will have what? It will have lowest false acceptance rate, because the device is so accurate, it's so sensitive, that it is giving the accurate results. So the false acceptance rate will be the lowest. But if it's giving the accurate results, there's a high chance of false rejection rate. The genuine person could be rejected. Let's say I'm not feeling well, I'm just giving an example. Okay, let's say if there is face recognition. Okay, face recognition, and maybe on some day I'm not feeling well, and I'm not looking the way I look normally, and I just try to authenticate myself, and the device is rejecting me because it's so accurate that even a small difference it's able to detect, right? So it is falsely rejecting me. Okay, so the more the accurate, the more the sensitive is the system, the more chances of what? False rejection. All right. So so when we say false rejection, okay, so it means what? It means false negative. So in case of sensitive biometric authentication system, okay, the answer is what? The answer is not false positive but false negative. This is the vulnerability. It's in internal weakness. When I say vulnerability, it means it is something, a flaw in that particular system. Okay, it's an internal weakness in that particular system. All right, so this is the vulnerability. What? False negative. False rejection can happen. Guys, here you also need to understand why false rejection, false rejection is an issue in the first case. Because if you remember in the biometric lecture, we have discussed that false acceptance is something which we won't tolerate, because there you are falsely accepting, you are falsely allowing the unauthorized person. But I have told you that if genuine people is harassed, it is fine. Okay, if you remember things, I have discussed that. I mean, it is not fine, but it's not a serious case. If let's say, for example, I am a genuine person, and if I am rejected by the biometric, it is an issue, but it's not a big issue as what false acceptance is, right? So this is what we have discussed in the lectures. But also you have to understand that we have also discussed the need to come in between, because both extremes are bad. You have to understand one thing, the graph at both the extremes are bad. So that's why something in between is what? It is accurate, or I mean, it is ideal, so that's why we have discussed about the equal error rate. I hope you are able to remember things, right? Because you need to understand one thing, that when there is lots of false alarm. Okay, or let's say, if I'm the authorized person, and if the device is rejecting me all the time, I'll be frustrated. Okay, if it happens frequently, I'll be damn frustrated. I'll be like, I don't need the system. There will be again what? Users will say that we are not going to use this particular authentication mechanism, we want something else. Okay, because they will say that it is giving inaccurate results. I'm the right person and it is rejecting me. If those cases increases again, the efficiency or the use of that particular system will go down. I hope you understand things. So in the lecture, when we have discussed that false acceptance is a very concerning things, and false rejection is fine, a genuine person being harassed is fine. But there I was talking not in terms of the overall I mean there our main intention was to discuss about the security aspect from the angle of security. Okay, because if wrong person is given the access to a particular area or maybe a particular device, that's very danger for your security. And this topic is there in domain 5. Okay, so from the angle of protection of the information systems, from that angle we have discussed that. All right, but you have to understand that if a particular system is inefficient, it is inefficient, right? Okay, so I hope you're able to understand these things. And also you have to understand one thing, this is something which you need to understand. The more the level of controls, I think, as far as what I remember, I have discussed this in the past also. The more the number of controls, the more frustrated will be the user. Okay, example, you are logging into your internet bank. Okay, you want to do net banking and you are just logging in to your net banking, and you are finding, oh my god, and I'm not able to remember the user ID. Okay, then I click on forget user ID. It is asking me so many questions. It is asking me, okay, you provide me the account number, your full name, your ATM pin and everything, and it is so frustrating at times. So the system is having so much controls that the user gets frustrated. Think of like this. You want to enter your office. And you have to go through so much of these kind of things. You have to authenticate yourself in each and every place. What will happen? The user will be frustrated, but for security, controls is required. One more example, so our lectures, so when we provide the softwares, when we provide our platform through which the students watch our lectures, so that software we have uh good amount of security controls. So we use the encryption mechanism and all those things. There are so many things are there. We have lots of security features in our platform, so that obviously, like our lectures shouldn't get leaked out, or there should not be any unauthorized use or illegal use of our content, right? But at times, because of so many controls, the users, the students might face difficulty. And this is the reality. There is nothing even we can do about it. You have to understand, the more the controls, definitely the when you talk about the user experience, it will impact the user experience. Okay, but then you have to do that for achieving the desired level of security. Okay, so this is the brutal truth. This is something uh, you know honest thing about security. The more the controls, the more frustrated will be the users. It happens almost everywhere. Okay, imagine like this. In your organization's laptop, your organization's laptop asks you to update your password every 30 days. Okay, let's say you have this policy of updating your password every 30 days. So damn frustrating. Okay, maybe for that security, they want you, because maybe you are using some you're having access to some confidential data, and they want you to change your passwords every 30 days. And all that, every 30 days you have to change the password, you have to remember it, and things will become difficult for you. You'll become more frustrated, but this is the reality. Okay, so that's why we try to bring solutions, so that it doesn't impact the user experience, but the reality is it will have an impact on the user system. I can give you one more example. So I'm slightly deviating from the topic, but it is very interesting. And this is something which I realized last week. So I'm staying in India, and in India we use this food delivering app, which is when we want to order something. So I use Swiggy. Swiggy is the app. When I want to order some food from a restaurant, we use Swiggy. So previously, what I was doing was, So basically, I have a premium account, in the Swiggy. So I have paid, for some quarterly premium membership. Okay, so when I have taken the membership, I have given my user ID to one of my friend also, because he asked me, like, he wanted to order something, and he asked me whether you have Swiggy premium, because if you have the premium, I'll be getting free delivery. So what I did was, I have given my user ID and my this thing, my access, so access to my account I have given to what I have given to my one of my friend. Okay, so again, there are two or three friends, of mine, and everyone, they started asking me, if I can provide them also the same access. So what I did was, I have given this access to multiple of my friends, so three or four of my friends, and honestly, I don't support all those things, but then they were asking me, and so I have given them to use it. Okay, so what happened was, last week, they came with a new control, saying that only two device can get an access to my system, at a particular time. So if four people wants to access, two people will have to log out from their device. So maximum users could be two. So what is this? It's a control. It's a very good control. Okay, so this is the new thing which they have brought last week. So only maximum two people can use the same account. Otherwise, what was happening was, they were losing their business, because one person used to purchase the premium account, and 10 people used to share those accounts. And this happens with almost all the apps, the most famous apps like Netflix, Hotstar, and there are so many apps, it happens everywhere, so then they brought some control, saying that maximum two or maximum three can log in. So what is happening here is that they are increasing the controls, but when the controls increases, the user experience will decrease, right? Let's say if a particular person is sharing the cost among five people. Okay, I'm paying for the premium membership, and let's say if five people are sharing the same account, and they are sharing the cost also. So from the user experience, they won't be so much happy, right? So we have to understand one thing: for the security, the more the controls, the I mean, the more the controls, the more the security, but the more frustrated will be the user. So user experience will slightly go down. All right. Anyways, let's come back to the discussion. It's okay. Don't get scared. Don't get confused. This is a very difficult level question, honestly, and I don't think that these kind of questions can be asked. But then, yes. So as I have already mentioned that, out of 150 questions, there will be few difficult questions, and they can you keep this kind of question in the exam, and the majority of the people will give wrong answers. So don't worry, don't take stress. In case you haven't understood, you can just go back and again revise the entire video. I'm damn sure you will understand. Okay, now the game doesn't end here, the story doesn't end here. Okay, now in the same question, I'm changing something. Okay, which of the following is a vulnerability? This is the reason, why you need to get that right reading skills. So this is how they can confuse you in the exam. So which of the following is a vulnerability? Instead of the word vulnerability, they are using the word risk for the user. Risk for the user. Everything is the same. Everything is same. But instead of the word vulnerability, they are using the word risk, and they are saying risk for what? Risk for the users. Which of the following is a risk for the users for when they use sensitive biometric authentication system? Risk. What is the risk for the user? Okay. Now here, the risk for the user, again, this kind of question this particular variation, this is least expected in the exam. But I'm you never know, right? Because they can try any permutation and combinations, and I'm sure that so in all the exam sets, they definitely keep some difficult questions, so I feel that this can be a difficult question, because not not because of understanding the concept, but the thing is that whatever we have learned and whatever questions we have solved from the official QA and the review manual and everything that discusses the basic things, right? They don't talk about these things, okay? But in the review manual, they have discussed about what? Least user acceptance because of theft of what? Finely individualized personal data. That's why it's what? Least user acceptance. Okay. When they say sensitive, it means what? So what I'm trying to discuss over here is that when we use the word sensitive, we are saying something as accurate. When I am saying something as accurate, I am saying something has the least false acceptance rate. But we have discussed in the graph that when something is having the least false acceptance rate, something will be having the highest false rejection rate. Okay, just a second. And then we have also discussed that retina scan is having what? Least false acceptance rate. Okay, why retina scan is having the least false acceptance rate is because the user will have to get close to that particular device, right? And because of it, there is a risk of theft of their personalized data. There is a risk of reveal of their health conditions. That's the reason there is what? Least user acceptance. But retina scan is having the least false acceptance rate. When I'm saying least false acceptance rate, I'm trying to indirectly tell you that something is very accurate or something is very sensitive, right? So what I'm trying to say over here is that instead of directly presenting in front of you a question on least user acceptance and retina scan, they can twist the question, and they can give you a question like this, that which of the following will be having what? Instead of giving the direct question, they can use the word which of the following is a vulnerability. Instead of using the word vulnerability, they can use the words which of the following is what? Which of the following is risk for the users? Risk for the users. When they're using a sensitive means accurate. Okay, risk for the users when they're using a sensitive biometric authentication system. Risk for the user sensitive. They are indirectly asking question on retina scan, and the retina scan is having the least user acceptance. Even though it is very sensitive, the reason is that there is theft of finely individualized personal data. So when that is the question, the answer will become option number A. So when the question is having the word vulnerability, the answer will be vulnerability of a biometric authentication system. Again, repeat. When the question is having the word vulnerability of a I mean, not vulnerability. When the question is having the word which of the following is a concern, when you're using a biometric, not a sensitive biometric, a normal biometric. So normal biometric is false positive. We have discussed, right? Normal biometric is false positive. Okay, and in case of IDs, we have discussed false negative. But when they use the word sensitive biometric, sensitive means accurate biometric, and if they use the word which of the following is a vulnerability. When I say vulnerability means a flaw in that particular system, internal weakness in that particular system. So when they use the word vulnerability, the answer will be false negative, right? False negative in case of biometric authentication system. Instead of the word vulnerability, they use the word risk for the users. Risk for the users using Sensitive biometric. Sensitive biometric. Risk for the users using sensitive biometric. In that case, the answer will be option number A, which is theft of personalized individual data. Okay, theft of health information. So that's a risk for the users, right? So instead of the word vulnerability, they're using the words risk for the users. The answer will become option number A in that particular question. I hope now you're able to understand things. Okay, it is very simple, damn simple. If you understand, even if you understand a simple basic thing, about false acceptance, false rejection, if you understand the basic concept, you can easily you can easily build a chain. You don't have to mug up these things, even if you forget. Okay, now in the exam, you have learned so many things, you have done, you are going through so many things, and in the exam all you forget things. Okay, you go with the basics, you try to think, where, when I'm saying false acceptance, when I'm saying false positive, okay, biometric, we have learned something that, false positive or false acceptance, it's a very concerning thing. Okay, and then, when we say sensitive means it is very accurate means, okay, accurate means, there will be higher chances of false rejection, because it's very damn accurate. Even a small change, even a minor change, the system will detect that. So there can be higher cases of false rejection. Or okay, false rejection means false negative. Okay, so false negative is the answer. But okay, but here the question is using the word risk for the users. For the users, okay, risk for the users. We have learned something. Okay, there is a risk that your personal data could be leaked out. Okay, theft of finely individualized personal data. Okay, so if you understand a small thing, you can easily link till the end. You can easily build a chain, entire chain. Okay, so it's not at all difficult. Okay, let us revise very quickly whatever we have discussed things. Okay, we have discussed false acceptance, false rejection, equal error rate. We have discussed both of them share inverse relationship. Okay, false acceptance highest means false rejection lowest. Okay, and vice versa, we have to come somewhere in between. It is called as equal error rate. In case of biometric, normally false positive. In case of IDS, normally false negative. Okay, we have discussed, okay, least user acceptance for retina scan. Okay, why least user acceptance? Because the user will have to get close to the device. When the user is getting close to the device, what is happening is that there is a chances of theft of personalized individual data. Your health condition could be leaked out, and that's the reason least user acceptance. But also retina scan is very accurate, damn sensitive, so it is having lowest false acceptance rate. All right, we have also discussed. Okay, so disadvantages we have already discussed about that. All right, but it is sensitive. Okay, okay, so instead of giving you the direct question on least user acceptance or the retina scan, they can twist the question, and they can present in front of you saying that because this particular word is there in the review manual. Okay, and this is from where we have discussed about the least user acceptance. Okay, so instead of giving you directly, they can give you indirectly, saying that sensitive, something is very sensitive. Okay, so something is sensitive means something is very accurate. Something is very accurate means false acceptance rate is the lowest. And we have discussed what from the review manual, we have actually discussed what we have discussed, that for retina scan the false acceptance rate is the lowest. Okay, this is something we have discussed for the retina scan. Okay, false acceptance rate lowest means false rejection rate highest. Okay, okay, the question is talking about retina scan and risk for the users. Oh, retina scan, risk for the users. Oh, I have learned something. I have learned about something here, in the lectures. Okay, it means that there is theft of personalized individual data. All right, so very simple, very simple. Okay, don't worry. In case if you have not understood, go back and revise these videos, and I'm sure that you will understand these things. All right, and make sure to also watch all the lectures on this particular topic of uh, biometric, and false acceptance and false positive and everything. All right, so that you can just build the entire chain, and it becomes easier for you. I hope it work for everyone. Thank you.